This is Newslife.
Foreign businessmen expect Philippine economic growth to be sustained in the coming years. This as the country is emerging as the destination of foreign investments that are leaving China. He's Freddy Bondo with the details.
Although economic growth is below the projected 7 to 8%, it was still a good year for the country for 2015. The Philippines ranks among the top performing economies in Asia. China is on top. Thailand ranks number 1 in ASEAN. Because of this, there is a consensus among the members of the Joint Foreign Chambers of Commerce in the country growth will be sustained for the long term. A major milestone for the year is the entry of more foreign direct investments. John Forbes, senior advisor of the American Chamber of Commerce, disclosed $6 billion has been recorded for the first 11 months of the year. Outgoing Trade Secretary Gregory Domingo said it may equal last year's FDIs of $6.5 billion. The Philippines is emerging as a destination of foreign investments leaving China.
It's been a pretty good year. Like most years, it could have been worse, and it could have been better. In economic and business terms, there's been a record level of FDI for the last 2 years. So that this year it's going to reach $6 billion US as it did last year, and that's a 500% increase from 2010 at the beginning of the current administration. So that's a level of confidence in the country, in better governance, in the fact there are 100 million Filipinos, the middle class is growing, and people are paying more attention to the Philippines being a significant economy within the ASEAN region. On the other hand, it could be higher, and I think everybody, this administration should keep on working, and certainly the next administration coming in should definitely work to help realize the potential, which I would guess is twice as much. Vietnam is getting twice as much, for example.
If you look at the latest FDI numbers, right, in November, we had FDIs of $1.5 billion in 1 month. Compare that to 2010, FDIs, the whole of 2010, of $1 billion. So the whole of 2011 of $2 billion. This year, in 1 month, November, $1.5 billion.
Total, sir?
Ang total natin, hindi ko pa nabilang, ang total natin, I think, is nasa 5 plus na eh.
Wow. So
last year, it was $6.2 billion in 20.
Slightly down, but we're doing.
No, but remember, in 2013, we only had $3.8 billion, right?
Yeah.
In 2014, we had a 60% jump to $6.2 billion. So sobrang laki nung jump. So this year, in fact, I was expecting it was going to go back down to 2013 levels, ng mga 3.8, 4 billion. Pero hindi. It's going to be close to 2014 levels. Kung swertein tayo, baka ma-exceed pa yun.
Forbes stressed all sectors of the economy will continue to sustain growth. Forbes cited the president's commitment to good governance as the major driver for the country's sustained high growth rate since 2011. Domingo said it has contributed greatly to the enhanced competitiveness of the country in the global economy. From manufacturing to tourism and the BPO sector, agriculture has been slow due to the impact of several typhoons and the El Nino phenomenon. Because of the economic boom, Domingo said unemployment is down. In fact, there is a shortage of skilled workers in several sectors, especially in construction. More jobs are open in the services and retail sector.
What are the bright spots for this year?
For this year, I think the increased spending in infrastructure and the continuation of the anti-corruption campaign are the bright spots. If we look at different sectors, BPO continue to grow strongly. Manufacturing is still growing. Tourism is up, but is becoming constrained by the problems of capacity at the airport, and I think the lack of development of Clark Airport, which is sitting right there, and can take a lot of the extra planes that can't land at NAIA. Agriculture and mining were disappointments. Agriculture grew very, very slowly, and with a third of the population, much more needs to be done about agriculture. Mining it hasn't been closed down, but the growth in new mines has been prevented by the President's executive order that was signed in July of 2012. So the business community would like to see that resolved.
Well, ang maganda sa atin is both our industry and our services are growing very rapidly. Yung services natin, dahil basically for two reasons. One is yung ating IT BPO industry. Sobrang lakas pa rin ng growth. I talked to many of the big players and they're very positive in their outlook in terms of growth for their industry. So even though they're very big already, they're still growing at a very strong pace. That's one. The other one is yung retail natin. Because of more income sa ating population, malakas yung retail sector. So those two comprise for a big portion of the services industry, and they're providing this very strong growth there. When you talk about manufacturing, ang lakas ng manufacturing natin. We grew 8.8% from 2013 to 2014, 2 years, no? And this year, I think, will be no different.
Construction.
Yeah, construction industry. Manufacturing. If construction is double digit. It ranges from 12 to 15% growth rate for the construction industry. So, ang dami, no?
Yeah.
All cylinders are firing in the industry at saka sa services side. So that seems to be gonna continue. Dahil based on my talks, let's say with Japanese, Taiwanese investors, even European investors, madaming papasok sa Pilipinas.
A major achievement for the year is government's response in dealing with the projected power crisis for Luzon early this year. The Department of Energy was prepared to deal with any shortage with the support of the private sector. Forbes said there is a need for more investments in the power sector, especially in renewable sources of energy to fuel the long-term growth of the country. Solar energy is gaining popularity as the most ideal source of renewable energy.
We were worried about the Luzon grid having some blackouts. We got through it. There was a lot of willingness of companies that have generators that put them in back in 91, 92 to work off their generators, cut themselves off the main grid if there were shortages. But we didn't need to do that. The weather cooperated, and there weren't so many breakdowns and unanticipated shutdowns of plants. We even got through a shutdown on the main Malampaya source of gas that supplies 3,000 megawatts. Next year, I'm again optimistic that we'll get through it, and then we have some large plants, big plants, 300, 400 megawatts that are under construction.
For the People's Television Network, this is Freddie Abando reporting.